Hello all, welcome to the channel. Today I am bringing you a playthrough of Empire. Hopefully this game will be published very soon for you to get a physical copy, but if not, you can head to the link in the description and get the print and play version, which is fantastic. This is the copy I have got here. Now this game is a solo game only. It takes in the region of up to about 30 minutes, which is about right, and it's touching on that light, just touching medium complexity, and it's the turn of the century. You'll be building your industrial empire by constructing these factories. You'll be hiring workers. You'll be using these to produce goods and sell them for a profit over here, and see what your profit is and how rich you'll become when you retire after these 30 years. So you've got these 15 turns. After that, however much profit you got, you see what you got. So from game to game, you're trying to compete against your own score. Now, what have we got then? So we've got these 6 factories, and in terms of setup, you need at least one of each colour. So we've got the capital here in the yellow, we've got the blue, which represents the goods, another blue, we've got a red, which represents the materials, things like brick, iron, cloth, and we've got the oranges, which are commodities, and another blue. So if you don't have at least one, it says from the left, flip them over until you do. You start with your central factory, and you've got resources on here. I've just gone for generic cubes, so we've got this cube that starts on 4 capital in yellow, we've got a 2 on orange, a 2 on red, and a 2 on blue. And this dice represents your number of workers, so you only need 4 on the actual card there to run this factory, but we're overstaffed at the moment, which is great, because we can hopefully move these workers to other factories, which we will build and put out adjacent to that based on where these arrows are, these transportation arrows. This is our manager. He's at a strength of 6, and we'll use him from potential round to round, once per round, if we can pay the costs based on this market dice. Now this is a nano game, so there's literally consists of 9 cards, 9 dice, which you're going to have to provide yourself and print off the 9 cards, and 9 cubes, and that is it. You will make the whole game work out of those components. And I printed off a little handy guide here for the actual 4 actions, which we'll go through. This is where you're keeping track of the years and your profit, and this is the market, which will fluctuate as you roll this dice. So we're going to dive straight in here, folks. The first thing we're doing is manipulating the market. So we're going to roll this dice. We're on number 5, which means when you look at the market, you look across this row here, it means that the orange resource can be sold at 3 resources for 1 profit. The reds are 1 for 1. We can't do the blues as a dash, so that's kind of out at the moment, restricted. And capital, you can do 2 capital for 1 profit. Now, profit can't be exchanged to build anything. It's been banked. That is your profit for your final score. So are you going to decide to make profit, or are you going to make capital, which will make sense shortly? Now, I'm using the B side, which is the advanced one. You can use the A side to begin with, and you'll notice the only difference is, well, you've got some different numbers there, and none of these are restricted, like you can see some of the dashes, but there's also no capital to turn into profit. So we're going for the advanced side, so see how that plays out for you. You can always go for option A if needed. Ignore those on the side. They are to keep track of your profit if you do go over this 40 mark, which will come into play soon. So we've rolled the dice. We are on the row 5, so are we going to decide to utilize that market as it stands? So we're next into actions, and there's 4 actions, and the first thing you could do is sell resources for capital or profit. So am I going to sell these resources on my factory at the going market rate? I don't think so, because I want to build my empire. I want to spend them to build stuff, so I'm going to pass on option A. Now, you have to work your way from A to D. B then, am I going to hire or move workers? Well, I'm fully staffed at the moment. I only need 4 workers then. I've got 6, and this D6 clearly can't go higher, so I can't do that action. Am I going to build option C? Yes, I am. So because this is my first action, I pay 0 for it, 0 capital. If I decide to do another action, I'll have to pay 1 for that. So building, I'm going to look at these buildings. Costs are all at the bottom here. We've got a private bank for capital, a boot and shoe works, a bacon factory, ship works, flour mill, and a tea warehouse. Now, what have we got that we can afford? I think I'm going to go for the private bank, folks. We're going to get more capital. So the costs here then, we've got 2 blue resources to pay, so we just move that down. We've spent that. 1 red, so we move that one, and 2 capital spent as well. So we place this where it fits the arrows, and what I mean by that is the arrows have to go in the same matching way, so we can place it there. This arrow follows the same path. I think that's probably the only way, because that one would be a clash, arrow against arrow. We can't place it there because there's no line, so we're going to place it here. You then take one of these dice, and you can see to staff this correctly, the private bank, we're going to need 3. You always start with 1, and you take one of these cubes and you just pop it on 0. So once that is fully staffed, you can then start attaining more capital. Now, you are limited in this game to the cubes. So if you exhaust all these cubes because you've built several factories, you then have to take those cubes from the central factory, which will come into play after. So we have built at 0 cost. Produce then. We will produce, and because this is our second action, we're going to pay 1 capital to do so. So we pay the capital, it goes from 2 to 1, and we produce goods. Now, how much of a thing do we produce? So let's just ignore this private bank for now. If we just had the central factory, we've got 1 of each type of resource, so we're going to go up 1. So the blue's going to go at 1, the red's going 1, capital, and then the orange. So that is the state of play. Now we bring in the private bank. Now this is our actual state of play, but this isn't fully staffed, so it is not operational and not taking any, we're not producing. Now you'll see the difference after when that is staffed. Okay, so we have produced resources. That is the end of year 0. We've started, we're over to year 2. So that was the sort of tidying up the end of the phase. So we back around, we roll the dice, we got a number 6. The market now is 2 oranges for 1 profit or capital. The reds are out of play, blues are 2 for 1, capital is 3 for 1. So we are definitely not going to do option A of selling resources and or capital for profit. We're going to go to B, hire or move workers. So as our first action, no capital needs to be spent. We are going to hire a worker, so we move this one up to a 2. So we've hired a worker as an action. You can move workers as well. So we've overstaffed on this one, so we're going to move this from a 6 to a 5. So you can only ever move 1 worker at a time from an adjacent spot in that particular action. And we're moving it to the adjacent tile through these arrows, this sort of rail transport network. And this now goes from a 2 to a 3, which is now fully staffed. The private bank is up and running. So that was our first action, no cost. Are we going to build then? Have we got enough resources? So we're looking at these. Oh, we haven't quite. We've got 3 oranges. Is there anything orange? We can maybe go for this one. We could go for the boot and shoe works maybe. That's going to cost us though 1 capital, and I've only got 2 capital. And if I do that, then next action. So if I wanted to build now, I'd pay my 1 capital, do everything required of that. But if I then wanted to do option D, I'd have to pay 2 capital to do that. And I'd only have 1 remaining. So I'm not going to do that. Now, just for hypothetical senses, if you did action A, that's fine, that's free. If you do action B as well, that's going to cost you 1 capital. If you then did action C, that's going to cost you 2 capital as well. And then if you did option D as well, so you want to do all 4 actions, you're paying another 3 capital. So that's what 6 capital spent to do all of it, which you can see why the private bank might come in handy to give me a lot more production in that area. So I'm not going to build because I'm going to spend now for option D 1 capital, because it's my second action, to produce resources. So we're going to produce 1 blue, 1 red, and 1 orange, which is maxed out anyway, so we can't go beyond the 3. But this time, the capital, because we have 2 locations that are fully staffed and functional, and we've got 2 locations of capital, it's a multiplier of 2 for each site. So we're actually going to go up 2 capital this time there, and 2 capital on the private bank. If we had a third one and it was fully staffed, you would go a multiplier of 3. So you go 3 up here, 3 up there, and 3 on the other factory as well. So you can see how you maybe want to target certain factories. Now, I completely forgot that when you build this, you're supposed to look at the event to the right. And in this case, it would have been this baby boom. So we would have had to do that when I placed that build, and I kind of forgot, naughtily me. So we've got years 4 to 10. We're in year 2, so this does not apply, and these happen once. So we got away with that then. We've avoided the baby boom. So where are we? We produce resources. That's the end of that. We go to the end of the phase. So we go from 2 to 4. We're back around, and we're going to re-roll the market. We're on number 4 here. Am I going to sell resources for capital or profit? Well, I've got some capital. I am quite well stocked on all my resources. I could do that, but I want to build. I want to establish this empire and get more engine, my engine being built. Okay, so we're going to skip sell resources, hire or move workers. So I'm fully staffed, but I could maybe move this to a 4 in expectation of moving that worker. So I'm probably wanting to look at these and thinking, okay, there's no more capital to be purchased, so I couldn't have a multiplier 3. What reason do I want to go for a market? A big bacon factory would be quite nice, and that's going to cost me 3 blues, which I haven't got. I've got 2, got orange. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how I can make this happen. So we didn't do sell. Are we going to hire? Am I going to have enough expenditure for this? No, we're not going to hire. Am I going to build? I'm going to build this, but I haven't got enough blue. But this manager is where this can come into play. So any point during the action phase, during these 4 actions, you can use one of these 6 manager actions. So we change that to a 5 at the cost of the current market value, which is 4. So I have to spend 4 capital, which I might regret that. And we now can attain a resource of our choice. I've chosen a blue. What else could you do with a manager? You could decide to hire an extra worker. So I could turn that 3 into a 4. Or you could build a building that has one of these sides without an arrow and place it next to a location that doesn't have an arrow as well. For example, this tea warehouse could go there because it's adjacent to a blank side. But I'm not going to do that. I really needed that resource, which is very expensive, but I want to get this bacon factory into place. So we paid all the resources for the bacon factory. We're going to place it up here because that arrow follows that arrow there. I could not have placed it here because the arrows are clashing. And there we go. We take one of the dice like we did previously and place that as a 1. And we need up to a level 4 to get that going. We take one of these and put that 0 there, and these are worth victory points at the end as well. We've got 8 points and 6 if they are fully staffed. Now I have remembered I'm going to do the event this time. So years 16 to 22, a railway monopoly. Early days, folks. We're only in year 4, so we're going to pass on that, bunch these together, and that was the build. So I didn't sell, I didn't hire, I have built as a free action. I'm now going to produce, which I've got 1 capital remaining to do so, and for doing that I've got 2 locations of capital, so we're going to get 2 each on those. We've maxed out. I didn't actually spend the I spent the capital. I haven't actually spent the resource yet for actually building that bacon factory. So it would have been 1 orange. It would have been all of my blue and 2 down there. Okay, we're straight. We paid for the bacon factory. So we're producing. So we've gone up on the capital. We've done the orange, and we're going to go at 1 on the red and 1 on the blue. There we are. That's all the actions. End of the year. We're over to year 6. We're going to go back round to market manipulation, number 4. And there we go. That's the market. Am I going to sell? No, it's too early to sell. Am I going to hire? Yes. So the first free action, I'm going to take this 1 to a 2. We've hired a worker. Am I going to... I haven't got enough capital to utilise a manager. I'll probably wait till this falls something like a 1 or a 2. Am I going to build? No. Am I going to produce? Yes. I'm going to spend 1 capital to then make 2 for there, 2 for here, 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. And this is not fully staffed yet, so that won't come into play. We are then going to move the end of the year. Now, there's some little icons on here which are on year 6. So this one is all about labour costs. It's kind of like a little sundial, I guess you could call it. And if you leave this, so at the end of that turn, when you're finishing the phase, shall we say, at this point, if any of your locations are overstaffed, I think it's the exception of the central factory, you will have to pay the current market dice price divided in half, rounded down. But we are fine. We're fully staffed there, and we're understaffed there, and the factory, if I remember rightly, does not count yet. Do not count that in this. So we have finished that phase, year 6, and we're over to year 8, which is another symbol on there, if you can just see that one. This is where we will be paying our factory upkeep, and you're going to have to pay 2 resources, not including the central factory because there's no resources on there. So we're going to have to pay 2 resources from these, and 2 resources there to upkeep those buildings. If you don't have the resources, fine, just crack on and you don't have to pay them. So maybe you want to spend those resources while they are there. So we've done the market actions then. Are we selling? No. Are we hiring? Yes. We're going to hire that to a 3. And that was no cost for doing that. Are we going to build? Ooh, we could. If we go for another blue, we'll have a really nice multiplier there. Let's see if we can spend this, get this boot and shoe. So first, I'm going to have to see if I can place it anywhere. I cannot because none of the arrows join up. Interesting. So we can't actually go for that one. What about this one? Well, I haven't got 3 blues unless I spent a lot of capital, which I could do as the manager. And I could place that down here. We're going to do this. We're going to give it a go. So before we build, we're going to actually need another blue resource. So we're going to spend our manager. So we're going to turn that down to 4. We're going to spend 4 capital because that's the market. So we're going to go down to 0 there and 1 down there. So we've gained a blue resource. We're then going to spend all 3 of the blues, 1 of the orange, and 1 more capital. So we've still had to pay the costs. We've built a warehouse and all the arrows match up. We take a 1 die, place that on there, and we take a worker, well, one of these resource counters, and place that on there. So what have we done? We didn't sell resources, we did hire. We have built, and I'm pretty sure we paid the 1 capital, and we've built, and we do have to do the event now. So where was that from? I think it was here. Yeah, because baby boom. So we cycle around because there's no event to the right of it. So we come back around. We do have to do this baby boom. And we are in year 8. So between years 4 and 10, there's a baby boom. You may add 1 worker to 1 die on each understaffed building. How great's that? But we're going to have to pay 1 capital per worker. Wow, I wish I had more capital. So we're going to up that to a 4. And we're going to up that to a 2. That was great. So we have to spend 2 capitals. So we are out of capital. Okay. And that is done once now. We wouldn't do that again. And we have done building. We've done the event. So producing resources. This would cost us... So we've already hired 0. Building was 1. So 2 capital to do this action. We don't have any capital, so we can't produce. Which is a bit frustrating because you always want those resources and produce where you can. Okay, so back around. We're moving here. So we do have to pay the upkeep for our factories because we're moving from year 8 to 10. And there's a little symbol on year 8. So we are looking at this one. And we haven't actually got any capital. We do have an orange to spend. What's going on here? We've spent an orange. We don't have any blue, so we can't actually pay anything else for that one. This one, we can pay a red. We can pay, we haven't got any capital, and we haven't got any blue, so no more to pay there. And this one, we're going to have to pay the 2 reds, aren't we? Now, in this particular version of the rules I've read and printed out, that's how you would do the business upkeep in terms of paying your costs for each of the factories. I think it's slightly different in the newer version that will be published. I believe it's maybe the dice, if it's something to do with the dice and the market price. So bear that in mind if you are watching this and you got the newer version. Okay. That was moving at the end of the upkeep. We're over to year 10. Roll the dice. Wow, we're getting high numbers here. We've got number 4. So we're not selling because we haven't got any resources. Hiring. I would absolutely love to hire. And this one's now fully staffed. That's fully staffed. We've got excess there. And that is... Oh, maybe. Oh, that's overstaffed. I don't actually think I paid that cost. No, the factory wasn't included, so we're safe leaving that there. We're going to hire, turn this 2 to a 3. Are we... Oh, we haven't got any capital. How am I going to get... Oh, we can get... I have no capital, folks. How am I going to get that up? Oh, right. I'm not going to hire. I'm in a tricky position here because I've got no capital. I could attain it having sold the resources, but I haven't really got any resources either. I've kind of just been... I've had to spend them all on upkeep of my businesses. So I'm actually going to skip A, skip B, which is hiring, skip C, which is build. I'm going to go straight to D to produce resources, and it doesn't cost me capital because my first action doesn't cost. So I'm actually going to do that because I just desperately need resources. So we're going to go 2 up here because we've got 2 locations, 2 up there. Orange is only 1 location, red is 1. Blues are 2 up there, 2 up there, because there's only those 2 in play. This one, unfortunately, is not staffed adequately. Okay, so we produced. That was a quick round. Over to upkeep. And there's nothing on year 10. So back around to the market. We're on number 5. We're not selling. We're hiring, though. We're up in that to a 3. Are we building? No. Are we producing? Yes, this is going to cost us 1 capital to do so, but we're then going to gain 2 there, 2 there. We're going to go up 2 more blues, 1 orange, 1 red, and we're going to max out on our blues there. This one is now staffed correctly. So because we've got a blue, it's producing blue there, blue here, and blue here, that's a multiplier of 3. So we're going to go 3 there. Did I increase that by 3? I can't remember. Maybe it was just 2. But anyway, increase of 3 now on anywhere that produces blue. We've done produce, so we're going back around. Now this time we have to pay for overstaffed locations. We're fine, the factory's not included. Year 14, let's roll that market dice. So 3, we will take it. So I'm going to now sell, well, do I want to sell some of these resources? We're only kind of halfway through the 30 years, or do I want to try and buy something? But if I do buy something, I will have to take, because there's no more counters, all 9 are in play. I'll have to take 1 more from the market here, which makes one of them redundant. If I do go for this boot and shoe works, I'll have 4 blues out there, which is a multiplier of 4, which could give me so much profit. But do the arrows match up? It couldn't go there. It couldn't go there. Yeah, we can't actually place anywhere unless... No, we couldn't even use the manager option to do so either. So we can't even build that. Right, do I want an orange or a red one? Well, it's year 14. If I do that one, this is going to come into play, and that's a market glut in terms of no blues can be sold on the next turn. It's not the end of the world. Haven't got even the resources to do this. Well, I haven't got 3 reds, and I could build this one, I guess, but I'm not too fussed about the flower. Well, no, we're not going to build. So, are we going to produce? Yes, we're going to produce. So, what did I do then? Selling. Actually, I think I was taking into consideration whether I was going to keep my resource or selling. So, over to A then. We are going to sell. So, the market is 2 oranges for 1 profit. So, we're going to sell 2 of those. And we're on the profit, folks. We finally got a counter on there. We're going to sell 2 reds for another profit. Blues then. We're going to sell 3 there. 3 there's 6. Another 4 there is 10. Because it's 1-to-1. It's a great time to be selling the blue product. So we're up to 12 profit. The capital is got a dash. We can't actually spend that capital, which is a shame because we got a fair bit of it. So our first reaction was sell resources. Hiring then. We don't actually need to hire anyone unless we wanted to overstaff, which is a risk because there'll be costs associated if that comes at the end of the upkeep. And overstaffing, you may want to do that because then it makes it really easier when you do build to just quickly move workers over there from different locations to bump it up rather than waiting each round to do the hire action. But we're not going to do that. Building, no. Produce resources, yes. We're going to pay 1 capital, so we're going to go up 2 there, 2 here, 1, 1, 3 up on the blues. I've remembered this time. There we are, end of the upkeep, nothing on that. Year 16, we've got number 3, background selling then. Are we going to sell oranges? Yes, let's just do it. So we'll sell one of them. Well, we sold 2 oranges at the rate of 2 for 1 profit. Reds, we're going to sell as well. So we made 1 profit for 2 to the 1. Blues, again, we've hit. This is why I want to make the most of it. Because if you're looking at this market, it's 3 to 1. There's a couple of, 2 of them. 2 of the numbers 2 and 3 offers a 1 to 1 ratio on the blues, which is what we're all about. So we're going to do it while the opportunity is there. So we're going to sell 3 here, another 3, and another 3 is 9. So we've gone from what, 14 plus the 6, 23 is that? Yeah. And capital is still out of play. Okay. Hiring. No. Am I going to build? I've kind of just spent all my resources. Am I going to produce? Yes. So we're kind of spamming similar actions here. It might be worth trying to build some of these because there is VPs on them as well. But for now, I'm kind of enjoying just spamming this blue good, really. So producing them. We're going to spend 1. Oh yeah, we're going to spend 1 capital to do so, which is going to go up 2, kind of maxed out there, which is a shame. 2 there. We really need to spend some of this capital. We're going to go at 3 here, 1 there, 1 there, 3 here, and 3 there. Back around then. So year 16 had no upkeep. Back around to market manipulation, 4. Okay, we are definitely selling resources. So orange, we're going to sell 1 for 1. And reds, we are not going to sell. Blues, it's now 2 for 1. But if we keep them and then we produce, we've hit the maximum levels on them. So we're going to sell them. So we're going to sell all. We're going to sell 2 there, 2 there, which is 4, 6. And it's 2 for 1, so that's 3. 27. Now, this is what I was really excited about. Capital. 1 for 1, folks. So I'm going to sell all 4 there. And I'm probably going to sell 5 there. So that's 9. You want a bit of capital about you. So we're going to go up 9 on there, which is 36. That was sell resources. Hiring. No. Building. Right. I'm going to have to start thinking about what actually I'd like to build. We could maybe... Well, we can't build this because of the arrows. We could build this, but we're going to have to start saving our reds. Maybe we'll try and aim to get this one. Is it a bit late, though, because you're going to need up to a 6? This one's up to a 5, a flour mill, and that could be built. Or could it? I think the arrows are messing with us out. No, we'll leave that one. We are not going to build produce then. Yes, we're going to spend 1 resource to go up 2, to go up 2, 1 there, 1 there, 3 there, hitting the max. And we've hit the max there. Okay, so we have both symbols. We've got overstaffed areas, none besides the factory, which is fine. Upkeep costs, ouch, this is going to hurt. So 2 resources of our choice from here. We're going to go for the 2 blue. This one, we're going to go for the blue and a capital. This one, we're going to go for a blue and an orange, maybe. Okay, then. So are we... Yep, that's the end of that. Year 20, roll the dice. Yes, we got a number 1, but we kind of just got rid of a lot of our resources. So oranges, we got none. Red, we're trying to keep to maybe buy something. Blues, a ridiculous price now. 3 for 1, no chance. And capitals too. So we're not going to sell. Higher. Oh, should we take a gamble? We've got a couple of years before overstaffing costs arrive. We're going to overhire, but which one? So if we did go for this flour mill, actually, I think it's the railway monopoly we want. We could place it here because the arrows match. So if we overstaff that one, but it needs 6, let's do it. So we're going to build. No, we're hiring. We're going to hire. Yeah, we're going to hire. So we're going to go up to 6. So that was our first free action. Building then. And we're going to build. So we're going to build this one. And arrows match there. We have got 2 arrows. Oh, we've got no orange. How did I think I could build this? Right, no, can't build that. We are... Right, we've hired for 3. Not building, producing then. Do we want to use our manager? Oh, manager. So for a reminder, manager, you could either get one resource and pay the cost of the market dice. You could place out a building on an adjacent space that's got no arrows. Or you could hire a worker, which maxed out on this dice anyway. So no, we're not going to use the manager, which is a shame because it's on a value 1. What we could have done is maybe not hired as an action and hired using the manager. But then there's not really anything else I wanted to do. So we're just going to go straight to produce, spend 1 capital to then gain 2 again. We'll gain 3 on the blue, 1 on the red, 1 on the orange, and that's maxed out. So year 22 now. Oh yes, we've got another one. Are we going to sell? Are we going to take the profit? No, we didn't quite like those. So we're going to pass on sell, hire. No, we're going to build. Or am I? I need flour mill. Yes, we do have the resources now. Okay, so this one, it wasn't a flour mill. I'm getting confused. It's the ship works I want. We have got the red. We can do it. So we're going to place this one here. We're going to pay 2 orange now. We only have 1 orange. We can use the manager to gain that extra orange resource. It costs us 1 capital. So down 1 there. We can only do 1 manager action on a turn on one of these years. So we can now spend 2 of them, 3 reds and 1 capital. So we've paid for it. We take a dice, but you'll notice there's no cubes left. So we're going to have to take 1 from the market. So we're going to take this one from the red. So even though they've not got markers on both, there's still a multiplier. So when it comes to produce, we'll go up 2 on this track, but it won't go up 2 on the red track there because there's no marker. We could have took any marker. We could have took 1 from the orange. We could have took, maybe that would be a better option. Actually, maybe I just negate oranges at this part of the game. Yeah, we're going to do that. So we're going to leave that one on the red. We've taken the orange one. Is that going to bite me? Okay, no, we're going to do it. Where are we? We built. We didn't sell, we didn't hire, no, we built. That was our first reaction. Produce then, so we're going to pay 1 to produce, that goes up to 2 there. Oh, we're maxed out on blues. Where's this one? Oh no, that's the market, isn't it? Oh, we forgot to do the event as well. But the event would have been to the right, use 10 to 16, and we're out of that, so we do not have to do the event. And this one's not producing yet, in terms it's not staffed to produce. That one's maxed out. That's going to go to 2 now. Because we've got 1. Because it's only the ones that have actually got workers in play. And I think we're good. Okay, this year 22 had no upkeep. Over to year 24 then. Ooh, a nice low dice. Are we going to sell resources? We need to make profit. We need to sell. Which we're going to. Because the blue market is great for us. So we're going to sell 5, combined of 8, 12 blue goods, folks. Okay, so we're on 36. That takes us to 48. So we'll put the 8 back here on the market. And this should have been kind of a way. We move this next to, well, the profit track, I should say, is on 8. We move it next to the market, and that's where this 40 comes into play. It reminds you that you've banked 40 profit already. If you'd banked 80 and you come full circle, you move it kind of up here, so you've got 80 plus whatever's on there. So that's kind of a nice little trick. Okay, so we're on 2. We banked the profit for blues. Did we want to do reds? No. Do we want to do capital? Yes, indeed. We have got 7. We'll take that down to 2, so that's 5 capital. We'll spend another one there. That's 6 capital. That takes us to 14. Right, we've done our selling. We didn't have to pay for that hiring. Yes, we're going to hire for 2. We're going to spend a capital to do so. Are we going to build? No. Are we going to produce? We're going to have to spend our last 2 to produce. Yes, and I'm rather regretting having spent all that money on profit, because if I'd have a bit more capital, I could use my manager at a cost of 2 to hire another worker. I also forgot to move workers as well, so I did hire. I'm going to move a worker from here, so 5 now goes to 3. But do I forgo producing to spend that 2 to use my manager action? But if I do that, I won't have many resources to then sell for profit on the next round. I'm just going to produce. So we're going 2 here, 2 here, 3 here, max out 3, max out 3. That one's not producing yet. Reds go at 1, and there's no oranges to go up. There we go. So at the end of year 24, are we overstaffed? We are not overstaffed in anywhere that's not the capital factory. We're good. And we're back around over to year 26. Yes, I like a 1. So that showed you perfectly how important it was to have resource handy in your factories to now sell when the market is in your favour. So we're going to sell. We've got no oranges, sell reds then. We're still tight on reds, but we're going to sell them. So we've got 2 profit for those. And we've got blues. Actually, maybe. You know what? I am not going to sell. Skip sell. Hiring, yes, this comes to a 4. And move workers, yes. We're going to move this down to a 4. That to a 5. All the arrows match up. Are we going to build? No. Are we going to produce? But before we produce, I'm going to use one of my manager actions. These can be done once at any point during the actions. It's going to cost us 1 capital. Boom. And we're going to hire a worker. That's now going up to 6. So you can see how I hired, I moved, and I used a manager to get this, which is now fully staffed. Then I'm going to produce. I'm having to pay 1 capital for that. That was my second action, wasn't it? Okay, so we're producing 2 here, 2 on the capital. That's going to the max because we've got max on the blues. And reds this time, 2 are in play, so we're going up 2 there, which is max, and 2 there. We are hopefully going to make a killing on the next move, and we should because we've only got 2 rounds left. So that was produce. Upkeep, we are going to have to pay some costs, frustratingly. This factory is going to be, we'll take a capital and a blue. This one will take a blue. Probably best to do it from a few of them, otherwise you're going to be hitting the upper limit. Then we'll do another blue on that one. This one will do 2 blues. This one requires, we'll do a capital, and we're going to have to do a red. Okay, we've paid our costs. We now move to year 28. Roll the dice. That's a high 5. Are we going to trade in at the market? We've not really hit anything nice there. We are not going to do that, which is a big shame. I could have done with bacons and profit then. Hiring. We don't need to hire. Building. I don't think I can match any of the arrows. Producing. I'm just going to produce for free. Here we go. So we're going to go up 2 here, 2 there. Max out on the reds. 2 up there, max on the blue, because we would have had 3, because the multiplier, 3 blue locations would give us 3. We've got 2 reds at 2 and 2 couple. Right, that went rather quickly. Nothing's happening at the end of year 28. The final year 30, folks. Okay, roll this dice. Oh, that was not a very good roll. Okay, that's a big shame. 5. So we're just going to sell. We've got no oranges to sell. Reds, we're going to sell these for free. So we've made 6 at 1-to-1 on the reds. That's going up to 20. We can't sell blues. No. Maybe we could build something. We can't. That is a big shame. Right, couple. We're going to spend all of those for 2. That's going up to 22. And we'll spend all of those for. So we'll get another 2 on the capital. We've sold. We're not hiring. We're not building. And we're not producing resources. At the end of year 30, is anywhere overstaffed? No, we're not paying any costs. You then add up. Where are we? We're on 40, 64 profit we have made. And you can't spend that to do anything in the game, as you've just witnessed. We then add up our buildings. So we're getting 8, 6, 9, and 6, only if they are fully staffed. If not, you ain't getting the points. Add those points to this. That is your score. Play a couple of games and match your scores against the game. What a really nice economic puzzle, folks. You can see how you're spamming it on certain goes, but maybe if you can get this logistical puzzle to work for you and get all these out, some nice points on offer, some nice multipliers as to how you eat the most from the cubes that are on offer, because you're going to have to take them off the factory. There we are. Enjoy.